Greetings everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes. And today I'm going to be talking about two of the Black Knights. I'll be talking about Sir Percy and his future descendant Dane Whiteman, the two heroic Black Knights. I will not be talking about Nathan Garrett or the Vatican-owned Black Knight, because I'm going to save those for F.W. Waller in a Supervillains Explored vid response. But let's get underway, shall we? Sir Percy debuted in Black Knight Volume 1, Number 1 in May of 1955, and he was created, of course, by Stan Lee and Jim Manley. And it was a 5-issue series written by Stan Lee and art by Jim Manley in the first 3 interiors of all 5 covers. He appeared in Mystic Arcania, representing the element of Earth. And he is the original 6th century knight ordered by Sir Arthur Pendragon as the greatest warrior and one of the Knights of the Round Table. He was recruited by the wizard Merlin, who made him perceive this dual identity of being an incompetent knight and the persona of the Black Knight. He wielded the Ebony Blade, which Merlin forged from a meteorite. A constant foe of Mordred the Evil, Arthur's treacherous nephew, and Morgan Le Fay. He would go on many different adventures, guys, but to basically shorten it up, Sir Percy would go on many different great medieval adventures. He would stop Morgan Le Fay and would do knightly duties and whatnot, what have you. And he would gain great renown and great fear from his opponents for this. And the Ebony Blade was mystically enchanted to where basically if anybody spilled blood with this sword, or spilled heavy blood, that the wielder would be corrupted by the blade, and that they would in a turn become very monstrous and evil. But it would also consume part of their soul as well, at least as far as I can recall. Not really much is told about Sir Percy. It's just a lot of his early adventures. You kind of have to look and nitpick here. Even what I'm looking at here is just very vague. So, unfortunately, guys, I'm going to move on, however, to one that I do know. And that is Dane Whiteman, his modern-day descendant. And let us talk about Dane Whiteman. Yes, Dane Whiteman first appeared in Avengers number 47 in December of 1967. And he was created by Rob Thomas and John Buscema. I cannot pronounce that. Following his introduction, the Dane Whiteman Black Knight became a recurring character in the superhero team The Avengers, with his first solo story appearing shortly afterwards in the anthology title Marvel Superheroes number 17 in November of 1968. And from 1979 to 1980, the Black Knight also appeared in black and white feature in the Marvel UK book Hulk Weekly, where the feature was to be the longest lasting of the comics UK originated material. Appearing in the majority of the titles, 63 titles, which was written by Steve Parkhouse and art by Paul Neary and John Stokes, he would also appear in his own Marvel US title, the miniseries Black Knight Volume Number 1 through 4 in June to September of 1990, by husband and wife writers Roy and Dan Thomas, and successful penners Tony Zuniga, I did not say the N-word for those of you who just heard that. I can't really pronounce this guy's name, so I'll just spell it out. Dezuniga. And Rich Buckler. This was following the one-shot Black Knight Exodus #1 in December of 1996 by writer Ben Robb and penciler Jimmy Chang. Dane Whiteman was born in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I'm not good with pronunciations, as you can tell. And is best known as the modern day Black Knight, continuing a legacy that began in medieval England. The first Black Knight, Whiteman's ancestor Sir Percy, lived through the reign of King Arthur. Percy's murder at the hands of his nemesis Mordred began a string of successors, all of them Percy's descendants. It was revived by Whiteman's uncle Nathan Garrett, who had become the supervillain Black Knight. After being mortally wounded during a battle with Iron Man, he escaped to his estate, summoning his nephew to confess his crimes and asked him to restore honor to their family legacy and atone for Garrett's misdeeds. Whiteman became the Black Knight, creating Aragon for his mount. During his first outing, he was mistaken for his uncle and attacked by the Avengers. And though they actually realized their mistake later, he infiltrated the Masters of Evil, proving his worth to the Avengers, who offered him provisional membership. Shortly afterwards, he inherited Castle Garrett and traveled to England. He encountered the spirit of Sir Percy and there was given the Ebony Blade. He then encountered Doctor Strange and helped fight the extra-dimensional threat of Tiboro. While still a provisional Avenger, he helped defeat Kang the Conqueror, who was given the power over death. The power of death over the Avengers by the Grand Master as a prize for winning a recent game. Since Whiteman was not a full Avenger at the time, Kang had no power over him, and so Whiteman was able to defeat him with relative ease. Whiteman then officially joined the Avengers in recognition of his aid. Later, the Ebony Blade would be used by the Olympian war god Ares to put out the Promethean flame and turn most of the Olympians to crystal. Black Knight would travel to Olympus with other members and help defeat Ares. He was also an early member of the Defenders. And let me just go through the team lineups here. He's currently part of MI12. He's been an Avenger, a Defender, part of Excalibur, Ultra Force, Heroes for Hire, and he was temporarily part of the Masters of Evil. And he's an expert swordsman. He has magic senses. He wields the Sword of Light and the Shield of Night. Very interesting, alongside the Ebony Blade. He would also become the team's first casualty after kissing the enchantress who petrified him. His spirit was drawn into the 12th century by the sorcerer Argaman the Druid, and he took spiritual possession of his ancestor, the crusader Sir Escobar Gorrington, until Gorrington died due to the evil eye. Meanwhile, Whiteman chose to stay in there and care for his fellow defender, Valkyrie. And a lot of other storylines talking about the blood curse, the Ebony Blade, and that he took on a squire, and that his squire became the villain known as Bloodwrath, and him becoming a hero for hire, part of New Excalibur, MI13, and him eventually going to Wakanda, fighting Black Panther to get the real blade back. I mean, it's amazing. It is just simply amazing. One interesting fact about Whiteman is that he's more of a scientific character. He's a man who dabbles more in science than magic. But despite all that, he does know some arcanic spells, and he does carry talismans to be able to go into otherworldly dimensions. Like, he has gone into Mephisto's realm with mystic talismans that would partially protect him from the elements of Mephisto's world. So, Dane Whiteman, what is there to really... Dane Whiteman, Sir Percy, the two heroic Black Knights. Both of them are really, really sadly obscured. They're not the most well-known characters, but they're also not the most forgotten characters, as there are some people that I've talked to that at least somewhat recognize Whiteman. But nevertheless, Dane Whiteman and Sir Percy, they're very much lesser known, but at the same time, what makes them awesome? Well, they are literally modern. Well, Dane Whiteman is literally a modern day knight in shining armor. Sir Percy is his ancestor guiding him down a path of righteousness, and that makes Sir Percy and Dane Whiteman lesser known, but nevertheless still very awesome heroes. Stay tuned, guys, for the next installment and the next issue of Lesser Known but Awesome Heroes. Stay tuned.